Hello, and welcome to the WordPlay Podcast.
We're Leon and Zoe, and we run the radio drama making workshop alongside many more fun audio projects.
This podcast is the place where you can hear what we've been up to and who's been in front of our microphones.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second edition of WordPlay Podcast. This month is hosted by me, comedian, author, performer, and I used to be a teacher, Lynn Ruth Miller. If you don't already know what wordplay is, you're in the right place to find out. We'll be hearing what Zoe and Leon have been up to in May 2016, getting children behind the microphone with their pop-up podcast and radio studio. We'll be hearing performance tips, writing suggestions, and a very special reading from me, and we'll also find out how you could be hosting an edition of Foyle's The Bookshop's podcast. Won't that be fun? This May, the WordPlay studio traveled around South London getting to know some children who learn in a different education environment from most kids. According to the statistics in a 2015 report, homeschooling was on the rise, with 37,000 children learning outside of the school institution, and it appears to be as popular as ever. Zoe and Leon popped along to a few home-educated social groups where parents and children meet up on a weekly basis to hang out with like-minded families. Rather than hosting a formal workshop, the microphones in studio were set up to give a taster about how audio could be used for fun and within education. Children got behind the mics, recording short stories, playing sound games, and even some singing. Have a listen to this clip of some of the content that was made at one of these events.
I would only say fish is a pet I'll get. Things you can do with them. Of course, feed them, take the lid out, wash the tank.
Once upon a time there was a banana which met someone called an apple.
Once a cat found a wheel, somehow he found some metal and made a car.
When the car was built, he drove and designed something called a BP oil.
I couldn't aspire.
A little earlier in May, Leon and Zoe were asked by Matthew from the brilliant audio drama production podcast to come onto the show for a chat about wordplay. If you haven't listened to the podcast, you're missing out on some superb listening. To this date, Matthew and Robert have released over 80 episodes covering literally everything you'd ever need to want to know about producing your own audio dramas. With this in mind, Zoe and Leon were a little bit nervous about their appearance, and they were afraid they might get a little tongue-tied because they usually were the ones who were helping others get on the microphone rather than talking themselves. But that aside, it's definitely an interesting interview where you can hear how the pair thought up the ideas behind wordplay.
On this week's show, I'm having a chat with Zoe and Leon of WordPlay. Now, WordPlay, if you're not familiar with them already, are based down in England, and they deliver workshops and host parties around the UK, inviting people to script and record their own radio plays.
Okay, so my name's Leon.
And I'm Zoe.
And together we run something called WordPlay, which we've been working on for about 6 months now.
Yeah, you should start a podcast about it.
We have.
Yeah, we've started one. Yeah, we started one in April.
If I'd done my research.
They're quite lively, the groups. So we have the bike horns. That's quite a popular sound effect. The one. And the kids tend to get a bit crazy as soon as they see that. And they are quite, I can't think of the right word. But
they're occasionally, we don't promote.
You are tuned into WordPlay Radio. I can't help it. Sorry. Maggie didn't say it.
Go to audiodramaproduction.com to hear the full episode, and be sure to check out Matthew and Robert's own audio drama series, which can be found at www.yapaudio.co.uk.
Get on the radio with Wordplay, the radio drama making workshop.
If users looking for live drama, stop now because you've found it.
My name is Lynn Ruth Miller, and as I'm sure you figured out, I'm hosting for this delightful edition of WordPlay Podcast. I was asked to host because I've been writing and performing for many, many years. I was writing ever since I was 10 years old, so that means I've been writing for 72 years, and I worked as a primary school teacher for 6 years and a college professor for another 6 years. I also am a performer. I started performing when I was 70, and I have been doing stand-up comedy for 12 years. Now, you can figure out how old I am. Since I've been writing since I was 10, I have a lot of ideas of what makes good writing. And the first thing you have to do if you want to be a good writer is make an outline of what you're going to be doing. You start the outline by telling us what you're going to say, and then you outline the points you're going to make, and at the end you summarize and say, this is what I said. That's your top way to learn to write. When you write, always remember to show, not to tell. In other words, don't say it's a beautiful day. Say the sun is shining and the sky is blue, and let your reader decide if they want it, if it's a beautiful day or if it's not. Always remember to stay away from adverbs, the ly words. You don't want to walk swiftly, you just want to walk, and you can say when they arrive to indicate that it was a fast walk instead of a slow walk. Stay away from the ly words. Trim as many adjectives out as you possibly can. The strongest way to write is by using nouns and verbs. That's the strongest way to write. And always remember you're painting a picture with words and letting the reader decide whether it's good or bad. My top tips for performing are do your homework, know what you're going to say, and listen to your audience. But my performing is comedy performing. When you perform in a play, my top tips are learn your lines. 3 top tips. Learn your lines, and learn your lines, because everybody depends on you. And if you mess up your line, you mess up everybody else's performance. Okay? Zoe and Leon asked me to read a short extract from all my writing that I've done for 82 years. If I read all of it, you'd be listening to this for about 40 years. I've decided to read my children's story, which is called Oswald the Ghostly Pale Ghost. In the United States, Halloween is a very big holiday where everybody likes to run around scaring the living daylights out of everyone else. And I've never been the kind that really likes to scare people. I like to make them happy. So I decided to write a Halloween story about a little ghost who didn't want to run around scaring anybody. He just wanted to be left alone with a good book. And this story is called Oswald, the Ghostly Pale Ghost. Once upon a time, all the ghosts that haunted the earth lived together in a little village on Cloud 9, 3 blocks from the moon. Every year at Halloween, the Great Ghost Committee on Cloud 9 sent all the school-aged ghosts to Earth to frighten people, haunt houses, and bring back the dead. After the night was over, the committee held a meeting to judge everyone's performance, and they decided who had scared the most people in one place at one time and awarded him the Ghostliest Ghost Award for the year. Everyone on Cloud 9 looked forward to the competition. They counted the days until Halloween, and they practiced in all the graveyards and lonely places on Earth so they would qualify for the award. Everyone, that is, but one very tiny little ghost. His name was Oswald. Oswald didn't like to scare people. He liked to read books instead. Oswald's mother wanted Oswald to go out and haunt houses the way his father had done and his grandfather before him. "Why don't you get some exercise?" she said. "You could run down to any graveyard on Earth and get a little practice tonight and be home in time for breakfast. You know, Oswald, Halloween will soon be here. Don't you want to be prepared for the big contest?" "No," said Oswald. One Halloween, Oswald's mother said, "This year you are going out, just like everyone else your age, Oswald. And don't you try to come back before dawn, because the door will be locked until morning." On Halloween Eve, Oswald's mother laid out his overshoes, his mittens, and a freshly ironed sheet. Oswald got dressed as slowly as he could, and he trudged to the door. "Now, goodbye, dear," said his mother. "You'll be surprised at how easy it is to scare people. All you have to do is put your heart and soul into your woos, the way your father did and your grandfather before him. I'll see you in the morning, and not before." And she kissed him goodbye and pushed him out the door. Oswald made his way ever so slowly to Earth. As he was flying carefully around the edges of the world, 3 black witches traveling at jet speed on bright orange broomsticks bumped right into him. Oswald screamed. He backed into a telephone wire and he fell kerplunk down a great big hole. The town Oswald was flying over was a tiny place located on the edge of the earth. It was called Yukon Go No Further. Its mayor had called a town meeting at his house that night to decide what to do about the ghosts that had been bothering them year after year. The people gathered together, and the meeting had just begun when, up above, Oswald bumped into the witches. When he tripped on that telephone wire, all the lights went out in the little town, and Oswald tumbled down the mayor's chimney. Well, you can imagine how frightened the people of Yukon Gono were when they suddenly saw that it was dark and they saw a ghost appear in the fireplace. Children screamed, men shouted, and all the ladies fainted. Well, you can imagine how frightened Oswald was, too. He knocked over tables, lamps, and people as he stumbled through the mayor's dark house, and all the children screamed even harder, and all the men even shouted even louder, and all the women fainted all over again. What a scary Halloween it was for everyone. At last, Oswald found the door of the house. He pushed it open, and he flew home as fast as he could, and he arrived just before breakfast. His little sheet was tattered and smudgy, and his nerves jangled like a broken alarm clock. Oswald's mother looked at him and shook her head. "You're a mess," she said. "Did you manage to scare anyone, or did you run away again?" "I scared everybody," said Oswald, "and I never want to do it again." Oswald's mother patted his head and smoothed his rumpled sheet. "It wasn't that bad, darling, now was it?" Oswald shuddered. "Yes, it was," he said. That day, the Great Ghost Committee met to choose the winner of the Ghostliest Ghost Award. They had seen Oswald's adventure because on Halloween night, the Great Ghost could see and hear everything that happens all over the world. Naturally, everyone on the committee voted for Oswald. How could they do otherwise? No one else from Cloud 9 had scared so many people in one place for such a long time. In fact, the You Can Go No Morning Times reported that all the children there were still screaming, the men were still shouting, and the ladies kept fainting over and over again. No ghost had been that successful in at least 50 years. "What a marvelous performance," said the head of the Ghostliest Ghost Committee when he presented Oswald with the award. "Thank you," said Oswald. From that day on, Halloween became Oswald's favorite holiday. He gave advice to all the student ghosts, and he helped them plan their Halloween activities. And as they left to haunt the earth, he wished them all good luck and returned to his favorite chair to read a new book. Poor little Oswald. His rumpled sheet. Zoe and Leon have given me a selection of radio plays to listen to, which were written and performed live at various wordplay radio drama workshops. They've asked me to pick some of my favorite characters, storyline, sound effects, and location, and it was very, very hard to do because all the plays I listened to were magnificent. But if you have to pick, I decided, okay, I would force myself to choose one above the others. So for the best location, I chose the Crazy Cake Island that was created by Ronnie, Alanov, and Leo.
I've lost my horse. What could be worse? Falling over, that's what. What's this in my mouth? It tastes like cake.
Continuing, the military man is still on Cake Island and beeping...
The reason I did that is because if you remember, he was on the island with a tiny little horse, and he tasted cake, so that meant that he was actually eating dirt. It was really a marvelous creative idea. For the best use of special effects, I had a terrible time because all of them were very good, but you can't beat Hollywoof, that was created by Nathan, Kezia, and Finn, because you heard the dogs barking, you heard the digging, you were in the scene. However, I have to mention, as a second idea, The Disastrous California Holiday by Sky, BB, Eva, and Rosa, because you could hear them in the water, and you could hear the mother in the bath.
Are you in the bath?
Of course not. Of course I'm not, sir. Come here, Rubber Ducky.
The best script was The Joker, and that goes right back to my talk about what makes good writing. They announced what they were going to say, they did the story, and then finished by saying, "You see, we said it." Very good. By Kies and Queenie. Absolutely amazing. I need to say that the comedy writing was excellent, because the key to comedy writing is a surprise. And, of course, the seagull pooping in Bob's mouth and having that go viral was the surprise. It was very, very good.
The lurking seagull jumped out from the crowd and landed on Bob's head.
What? Get off my head! Get off!
And as Bob looked up, the seagull pooped in his mouth.
For best character, I was hard put to choose. Finn was the most creative character. He was the barking dog. He was Buddy.
Sorry, I didn't mean to sneeze on that. Oh, what's that sound coming from underground?
Let's dig it up.
Doing his little barking. He was absolutely marvelous. Keep listening, and at the end of this podcast, you're going to hear my pick of the plays, the one that I chose as the very best. It was a terribly difficult decision. Before we hear my final pick of the play selection in full, here's a couple of listings to let you know how you can get in the WordPlay studio. And I know we all want to do that, don't we? As part of Southwark Library's Poetry Festival, WordPlay will be setting up their studio in South London Gallery on the 5th of June. Look at your diaries, 5th of June, and getting children behind the mics, experimenting with poetic recordings, and creating a live podcast. It's so much fun. If you can do it, be sure to get in touch. And then in July, Zoe and Leon will be challenging the people of St. Leonard's-on-Sea to script and perform a live radio play at St. Leonard's Festival. Keep an eye out on the WordPlay website for some more information on that one as it becomes available. You don't want to miss it. Finally, in August, WordPlay are inviting children to take over the Foyles Bookshop podcast for 3 special episodes celebrating the Foyles Summer Storybox Children's Literary Festival. What an honor that would be to be on that. We're looking for young podcast hosts and reporters who'd like to get involved. So if that sounds like you, get in touch with Zoe and Leon by email at workshops@wordplayeducation.co.uk. Let's hear that again. Workshops with an S at wordplayeducation, one word, .co.uk. And we'll let you know when the studio will be in the bookshop for the recording sessions. Always be sure to find all WordPlay news online at www.wordplayeducation.co.uk. And that's about it. I've been Lynn Ruth Miller, hosting the second edition of the WordPlay Podcast. It's been lovely chatting to you, and if you want to find out more about me, visit my website, www.lynnruthmiller, LYNNRUTHMILLER.net, and you'll see what I've been doing. So to leave you, here is my pick of the plays, a selection out of the plays made on WordPlay Radio Drama Workshop. It was a tough choice. I had a terrible time because I loved all 4 plays. But my choice of the very best was The Joker, a.k.a. Unsuccessful Man, because it was the best written. It had the characters that stayed in their roles and never lost the sound of their character, and it had a beginning, a middle, and an end. So congratulations, Kias and Queenie, for being the best play of 4 outstanding plays on this selection, keeping our attention and making us want to hear you again and again. I simply can't wait for the next episode to see what Bob is up to.
Hello guys, you're tuned in to WordPlay. This is a play called Joker, aka Unsuccessful Man. Let's get on with this.
Hello guys, it's Queenie here, and I'm going to tell you about the life of a man named Bob. He was once very unsuccessful, but somehow became very successful.
Thanks, Queenie. This is a great time in my life, to the point where everyone's made a film about me. I've watched it, and I've seen nothing but good reports from the film and the actors, so let's get into this. Whoa, 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 ah! Oh, my arm. Hello?
Hi Bob, can you come to my house? I've got something to tell you.
Sorry, I can't come to your house. I broke my arm on my roller skates. The roller skates that I bought, but I'm not even good at.
I'll come over to yours in my police truck. I'll be over in a few minutes.
Vroom, 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 vroom. Hey Julie, what's up? What did you want to say?
I'm sorry to say, Bob, but the boss fired you. I'm really sorry.
You know what? I'm not going to let this get me down. I want to push out the haters, and I have to think of something. What's on the TV? So we got UC iPlayer, you got HP. Okay, what's this? Oh, this is cool. A comedian.
Oh, I've got the equipment from the film job I once had. Do you want to do it?
I won't be doing anything else. But one thing, my arm's broken.
Great. Even more time to practice.
Cool.
Bob's arm is way better now, and they have practiced and practiced for about a month.
You know what, Jilly? I think I'm ready. What about you?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's do this.
Whilst Jilly was setting up the camera, a crowd of skaters were wondering why there was a camera being set up in the middle of a skate park, and behind them was a lurking seagull.
Mine.
It's all set up now, and this is your big moment.
Okay, I'm ready.
The filming went okay, but nothing too special. But then the lurking seagull jumped out from the crowd and landed on Bob's head.
What? Get off my head. Get off.
And as Bob looked up, the seagull pooped in his mouth. The skaters, they did get some good shots of that, and it went viral all over the internet.
Yes.
And Bob is now very successful and has been living in Hollywood for a few years.
You have now just listened to Wordplay.
The narrator was played by Queenie, and Jilly was also played by Queenie. Bob was played by
Caius Russell.
Thank you for listening.
Goodbye.
You have been listening to the Wordplay Podcast.
The place where you can hear what we've been up to and who's been in front of our microphones.
Wordplay are Zoe and Leon, and the theme music is written and performed,
not live,
by Martin Byatt.